Hi there, welcome to Confessions of a Cosmetic Chemist. I'm your host, Maneula Marchegiani, and today we're going to talk about sensitive skin types. It's a very popular topic. A lot of people are very curious about sensitivity in their skin, and we want to be able to address skin issues and understand that really, truly, there are 4 different types of sensitivity that we're talking about. I know people are going to expect to hear about, rosacea, atopic dermatitis, eczema. I'm going to talk about it a little bit differently today. I'm going to talk about it as naturally sensitive skin. You have environmentally sensitive skin. You have reactive skin or thin skin. And this is because I do believe that some parts of our life, in our age and stage, we end up with skin sensitivities. And this could be something to do with our age and stage. As you get older, your skin gets more vascular. You start to notice the sensitivity. It starts to really you get a lot of irritation with your skin. When you're younger, if you're using a lot of product on your skin or introducing a lot of different formulations that they're kind of competing or you're following a lot of trends, you create a sensitivity in your skin. There are times when we have more allergies, we're on different medications, our skin is thinning out. Or our skin is reacting to something. And this is all going to lead into sensitivity. So there are more things that are causing our skin to be sensitive than just eczema or rosacea. Although, when we have those issues, and those are actually considered skin diseases, right? When you have eczema, when you have atopic dermatitis, when you have rosacea, those are an illness or a disease of the skin. There is something wrong with the skin. This is not just a natural reaction to skincare that you're using, right? And so when you have those kind of issues with your skin, the best thing to do, you've got that itchiness, you've got that irritation, the best thing to do is to go to a doctor, dermatologist, and to get the actual prescription and the medication needed. And the reason is because when you have something, especially like rosacea, this is something that starts out very small sensitivity. And you'll notice it maybe around the nose area, maybe on the cheek area. And this tends to grow. We call it creeping. It tends to creep. And once it gets to a stage that it is taking over, there's really no going back. You do need the medication. Trying to do it at home with just skincare is not going to be enough. So when you have issues with your skin, that's medically something that you need to dermatitis. You've got the eczema on the skin, contact dermatitis, rosacea. You want to really have it treated properly because it does grow. It does become much more chronic. Skincare is not really meant to be curing these things. These are things that are considered medical. And this is really important because when we're talking about skin sensitivity and we're talking about skin condition, and as a cosmetic chemist, we make skincare. We don't necessarily do the prescription skincare all the time, right? So when you're making over-the-counter or just regular skincare, you are not treating or curing any disease. That is really what sets skincare apart from medicine. When you start talking about curing diseases or fixing diseases, this is beyond your aging, this is beyond your acne or a little bit of environmental sensitivity. This is different than stripping your microbiome or using too much retinoid and your skin is dried out and it's overreactive. Those are the sensitivities that we want to be able to deal with natural skincare, naturally using skincare, and not necessarily natural skincare. But what I mean by that is when you have sensitivity, for example, you've got acne and you've used a lot of exfoliants. You want to dry your skin out. You want it to balance the skin. You want to deal with the pimples and you want to deal with the acne. And you're using a lot of product that then increases the acne is inflammatory too, right? So you've got the inflammation that causes the sensitivity from the acne. And then you're going to be using an ingredient or a system to deal with the acne as well. Sometimes it increases the inflammation even more. So now you have a sensitivity. What you need to be doing in that point is you need to understand, okay, now you got to work on balancing between cleaning that and balancing the microbiome, and then taking that inflammatory response away. Something like that, you would probably have to use something like a retinoid and an azelaic acid, even a salicylic acid. And although they can be counterintuitive in the sense that They are pro-inflammatory. Actually, an azelaic and a salicylic are anti-inflammatory in that response, right? When you get older and you notice that your skin becomes thinner, more vascular, this is where you want to use skincare that is more desensitizing. So actually something with a niacinamide, something with a B vitamin, something that has a calming element. A lot of times people go for more of a cortisone kind of effect on the skin, and something that's going to increase the hydration. Not only take the redness and sensitivity out, you want to increase the hydration of that skin as well, because that thinness of the skin, you want to help thicken up that skin through the hydration, but also you want to work on that skin density because it's going to help take away a bit of that sensitivity and reactivity. So when we're dealing with sensitive skin issues, sensitivity is a problem. Sensitivity leads to inflammation. The inflammation leads to pain, discomfort, dryness, irritation, imbalance in the microbiome, an increase of bad bacteria, or usually some kind of inflammatory element. And these are all going to break down and make the skin much more vulnerable. So this is why it's really important to deal with sensitivity as the first thing when you're taking care of your skin, regardless of age or stage of your skin. You want to, if you're dealing with acne, if you're dealing with wrinkles, if you're dealing with any kind of skin issues, even hyperpigmentation, if you have any kind of inflammatory response or sensitivity on your skin, I really believe that nothing is going to happen to your skin until you deal with the inflammatory response, until you deal with the inflammation, when you deal with the sensitivity. This is because you think about your body too. You know, there's that fight or flight, right? So when you're stressed out, your cortisol level goes up, right? And you're in this more anxious state. Your metabolism is different. The way you think and process is going to be different. A lot of times you can't even think when you are anxious or upset or inflamed, right? In that aspect. Your skin is going to be the same. You've got to bring that inflammation down. You've got to bring that sensitivity down. You've got to bring that element down so you're getting the calmness on the skin to be able to now deal with the secondary element of rebuilding the skin. There are different types of sensitivities and different kinds of triggers in the skin. And what I found interesting is when I started over 30, 35 years ago, people really didn't have sensitive skin. People didn't really talk about sensitive skin as much as they do so now. Now people talk about allergic skin. We talk about skin sensitivity. We talk about all of these things that are going on with the skin, how the skin is very reactive. And I think this is a combination of a lot of things, why this is happening. One is that we're using a lot more product. There is a lot more in social media, a lot more manufacturing, a lot more influencers out there that are exposing us to more products. And so we're using a lot more products on our skin. And I think that that is breaking the skin down, because when you're over processing your skin, maybe it's just too much product on your skin, I find that it's going to increase the sensitivity. When the skin has too much hydration, too much vitamin, too much exposure. The one thing I think is very interesting is that we probably are too clean. We're cleansing our skin too much. We are stripping our skin too much. There used to be a belief that, you cleanse your skin twice a day, right? And that it would take up to 36 hours for our microbiome, our skin acid mantle, to rebuild itself, right? So these are a couple of things that used to be common in the skincare industry. We used to talk about this. And we don't take 36 hours in between showers or 36 hours in between cleansing. So if we're using soaps or detergents or exfoliants that are stripping the acid mantle or stripping the pH of the skin or altering the pH in a significant way, we are not allowing the skin to grow its protective layer, and we're boosting the sensitivity of the skin. So this need to be cleaner and more presentable and more social and more visible has also increased the susceptibility of our skin and increase the sensitivity of our skin because of just our habits, right? So understanding what causes sensitivity, understanding the role of the microbiome, the role of that living layer. That living layer is your first line of defense in your security system. And when you have an overprocessed skin, you're not rebuilding your acid mantle. You're not allowing your skin to relax for 36 hours, right? None of us are going to do that. We know that the practicality of doing that, it's not going to happen unless we're camping and we don't have showers, right? But in an aspect, you're not going to be doing that. You're not going to allow that acid mantle to build up slowly. So what are we going to do on a day-to-day basis is we're going to want to have a cleansing, hydrating, moisturizing, protecting routine of our skincare that is not disturbing the acid mantle or is rebuilding the acid mantle as quickly and efficiently as possible. When you have skincare that is not right for your skin type, too aggressive, too reactive for your skin, you're going to find that if you are predisposed to sensitivity, you'll find that your skin will react in a negative way. This is why the environment is important. When you're traveling a lot, if you're in a lot of different environments, the environment that we have around us breaks down the skin. So you want to be able to have something that's going to help protect the skin against sensitivity. When you're overprocessed your skin, if you are allergic to a lot of ingredients, you have to be careful with what you're using on your skin because it's going to increase that sensitivity. So you've got that, environmental sensitivity, you have the thinning of the skin, you have the reaction that's happening to your skin. All of these things can lead to more sensitivity. So it's not just having rosacea or eczema or contact dermatitis, but I do find that a lot of times we bring this on because we overuse product. A lot of times I notice that there's a gumminess around a lot of people I see around the mouth area where there's contact dermatitis in those areas. And usually there's a predisposition to be using a lot of serums and a lot of moisturizers. And so this area tends to get there's more fungal acne, there's more contact dermatitis, there's more of a buildup. There is this imbalance in the microbiome. There's more yeast that's present on the skin surface, which is increasing that sensitivity. Or people are going into multi-step process where they're over-exfoliating the skin. They want to exfoliate, they want to cleanse, they want to exfoliate, they want to scrub, and then they want to put some kind of toner on, and then they want to put something else that's rebalancing, and they want to be able to have this glass skin. And all of this is increasing the sensitivity to your skin. And it's increasing the susceptibility to create the sensitivity to your skin. So we see that we have various types of sensitivity. These are all sensitivities, I believe, that occur because of this overzealousness in skincare versus the sensitivity that you have because you have very reactive skin because there's an actual illness to your skin. And unfortunately, that is how we classify eczema or rosacea. It is basically a disease of the skin that needs medication and needs proper treatment, and it needs to be treated with a lot of respect and care. Because just like any other thing that is present in a state that requires medication to help fix it or to help control it. And the reason why you want to fix it and control it is because it does have the ability to creep and spread. And you want to be able to contain it. Many times you can't reverse it 100%. I know there's a lot of medications now that they're utilizing for eczema. With sensitive skin, so as a cosmetic chemist, and I'm making skincare, it was very important to us not only to understand this, and as I said, over 30 years ago, sensitive skin was not as prevalent. People didn't really talk about it that much. We know more about it now. We see people are reacting, have more reaction to the skin now, and I do think it's because we do have a lot more options and we're exposed to a lot more ingredients. People are always wanting something new and novel, or we're trying to do things even better. Maybe we are too clean, we are showering too much. I mean, all of these things happen. I know for myself personally, I had very sensitive skin. I didn't have eczema, I didn't have rosacea, I didn't have contact dermatitis. I had pretty much an autoimmune issue that I couldn't eat ice cream and I couldn't have a cold drink. I couldn't have a hot drink. I couldn't be out in the snow or I couldn't be in the ocean because those temperatures would actually cause me to have a lot of welts. I couldn't go bike riding because if it was windy and I was bike riding, I would still have welts all over me. I remember taking a walk in Quebec City with the classroom, my class in high school. And in the middle of the walk, stopping because I felt like I was burning up. And they were looking at me, my classmates, like, what happened? I was like, literally like a werewolf. My whole face changed color and my whole body swelled up. They had to carry me back to the hotel and take my clothes off because I couldn't even move. I had stiffened up altogether. This overreaction to the environment. So I had this really sensitive skin, really sensitive immune system. And it wasn't this typical, what we're talking about, when we talk about sensitivity. It was just something unusual. And this was also part of my skincare issue, was a sensitivity. Because of this, in university, when Darius, when I finally met Darius, and we started formulating to fix my skin. Because I had marks on me because of the welts and the breakouts and whatnot. pH was really important, understanding the pH of the skin and balancing that acid mantle. That was like the first order of what to do because we knew that everything that I used on my skin caused a reaction. Just think about it. I couldn't have anything cold, anything hot, too cold, too hot. Temperature was bad. I couldn't do natural things that people were doing because that was overreactive. So everything was an issue. So we had to get into the pH range and understanding the acid mantle. By understanding the acid mantle, and I used to just call it the acid mantle. I didn't really start talking about the microbiome as we do right now. But we knew that I knew that the acid mantle was a protective layer. So we started formulating with an acid mantle intact in mind. This is why when we created our double duty cleanser and our Australian harvest cleanser, which is now called the daily exfoliating cleanser, that pH, the end of pH of how your skin remained was very important. What do I mean by that? You're using the product, and then when you rinse it off, your skin the acid mantle had to be intact. I could not tolerate cleansing the skin and then using a separate toner. That would cause welts. All of this, I was very reactive. So Isomers was based on me with super hyper reactive skin. Very bad skin condition, truly. So we've always formulated our skincare with that in mind, with that type of skin in mind. Very reactive, very fragile skin. So our cleansers started that way, our moisturizers started this way, and we've always remained within that element. This is why we're not big believers in a lot of the toners and whatnot, because it should already be part and parcel within your cleanser, because of the fact that we know that when there is an imbalance of the pH of your skin is susceptible to so many other things. So when you do have rosacea, that's why a lot of people with rosacea, with eczema, or with dermatitis, use Isomer skincare, use our skincare, and ask us what are the formulas that we can use, or is it safe, or is it okay for us? And this is why we created the copper peptide, the copper P formulation. The copper P is very calming and soothing, anti-inflammatory. This is why our Matrixol is utilized the same way. This is why our all-in-one with our blend. Everything is about this pH of the skin. Making sure that we have that pH balance, and then we have our creams and serums that actually help be postbiotic or prebiotic and feed into the skin and into that microbiome. It's very trendy now in 2024. People are talking about the microbiome. But in 1988, in 1990, when we started working on these formulas, it wasn't trendy. People weren't talking about this, but we knew the importance of the reactivity on the skin. So what would I say if you have this kind of skin and you're wondering, what is it that I can use? First of all, you need to balance what you're eating. You have to be very careful of things that are extremely hot, extremely cold. Severe temperature shift really can help trigger inflammation or the response. Anything that could spit out any kind of histamine, any kind of inflammation. So you really want to work on not taking too hot or too cold showers. I mean, you could do it once in a while. It should not be a regular routine, because I know a lot of people like to do cold plunges now. There are therapeutic benefits for it. So if you do it once in a while, you do it periodically, it's okay. But if you have a regular routine of super hot, super cold, not so good. That's going to put too much stress on the sensitivity. If you're drinking a lot of alcohol frequently, if you have a lot of hot, spicy food, anything that's going to increase the vascularity, the blood flow into those areas that are very sensitive, you want to be careful of that, because that kind of flushing into the skin also stimulates the reaction and the sensitivity. So you have to think about your environment, you have to think about your diet, you have to think about your lifestyle. Those contribute to the skin sensitivity. You have to think about your skincare, and you've got to think about how you're cleansing your skin. And then when you're cleansing your skin, make sure that the skin is not stripped of its acid mantle. You then want to be able to restore your acid mantle. A couple of tricks for restoring the acid mantle. One is to use something like a hypochlorous acid. Hypochlorous acid is a very gentle bleaching or chloride element, right? And what this is going to do, this balances the microbiome, lowers the pH of the skin, helps to bring good and bad bacteria into balance. When good and bad bacteria are balanced in the microbiome, what this environment does, I like to think of it as a little factory. It creates a factory that works on building hyaluronate and ceramides and nutrients. So this is really what happens. When the bacteria is not in balance, the hyaluronate, the nutrients are not being built, the ceramides are not being replenished. So your skin is depleting of the essential elements that it needs. This is why you want this hypochlorous acid. It's almost like a quick fix into helping to build your skin. So that's one of the things that I would recommend. The other trick is a medicated zinc oxide. If you have a flare-up, if you have a lot of irritation on your skin, when nobody's around, no one can see you, you take some medicated zinc oxide. And the reason why I say that is because this is not something that's very aesthetically pleasing, but this is something that is basically a mineral, and it's usually like a 5%. I think, to me, I find that the 5% medicated zinc oxide to be one of the most beneficial and the one I've used the most for any kind of inflammatory sensitivity on the skin, is to create a mask using it, an overnight mask. You can use it on the lip area, all over the face, neck, décolleté, anywhere where you end up with a lot of patchiness as well. Put that medicated zinc oxide on clean skin, but don't put any other active, and just leave it as a baste, if you will, an overnight treatment. You wake up in the morning, I find that you leave it on for 8 or 10 hours. You may have a little bit of whiteness left. I mean, that could easily be rinsed off in your shower with gentle, lukewarm water, not too hot, not too cold. But this also allows for the pH to restore on your skin properly, that acid mantle to start building itself to be intact. And I find it very beneficial for those who have a lot of issues with their skin and sensitivity. Because you can have the sensitivity, as I said, naturally, allergic reaction, thinning of the skin. We're always going to deal with it the same way. We want to control the sensitivity. You want to take the inflammation out. You want to take the irritation out. You want to take the anger out. When you get that regulated and balanced, then you're able to do the other things that you want to do with your skin, because you might find with the sensitivity, you have blotchiness, you have veins, you can have dry skin and scaly skin when you've got like the eczema, or you can have the gumminess of the dermatitis. All of that, you want to be able to exfoliate that off. You want to be able to shed that and replenish and renew and moisturize, but you won't be able to do any of those things properly or safely until you take away the anger, the inflammatory element. This is why you want to balance that pH first and foremost, regardless of any kind of sensitivity you have on your skin. So we're talking about sensitive skin issues, and really why Eisenmer's Laboratory started, because of my sensitive skin and my reactive skin. And so I have a great appreciation for this skin type. And I have a great appreciation for what happens and what we have to do. And this is why the understanding of how we formulate for ultra-sensitive skin. And I think that when you formulate for ultra-sensitive skin, then, everybody can use your product, right? So you want your skin to be uneventful. And mine was full of events. And when you have on top of that with the sensitivity, if you have something like a rosacea or an eczema, and it does become much more chronic and you get stressed out over it and you're trying to get ahead of it and this becomes more problematic, know that your state of mind and how you are reacting is only making it worse, doesn't make it better. So getting the right skincare advice, getting the right medication, if those are the issues that you're suffering with your skin, and then using a good skincare routine that keeps in mind, I always look at skin like there's ideal skin. Ideal skin is like in the zone. And then there's all of us. We have all these different things. We're outside of the zone because something is happening with our skin. So it's always about bringing the skin back into the zone. And bringing it into the zone is going to make sure that the hygiene is right, the nutrition is right, the pH is right, the protection is right. And this doesn't change for anybody. Like this is the same for everybody. It doesn't matter what skin type you have or who you are, where you're from. You want to be able to have clean skin. You want to have the proper pH of your skin, have that acid mantle intact. You want the right nutrition and the right protection, because this is where you get this ideal. And when you're outside of the ideal, then there's levels of problems with the skin. Sensitivity is one of them. So when you're reacting to skincare, a lot of times you could be reacting to skincare because why? You're just doing something that's causing the reaction. Too much of something. Too much skincare, too much cleansing, too many actives. I've talked a lot about Korean skincare, in the sense that I believe that, and we've seen this in practice. This is just from my own experience. I don't know if this is a fact, but I can tell you what I've been exposed to and what I see is that a lot of people who go into a Korean skincare routine have a lot of fungal acne. They have a lot of sensitivity on their skin. There has a lot of reaction. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to use all these different products to create this glass skin, to create this ideal. But at the same time that you're trying to build up your skin or alter your skin to be reacting or presenting in a certain way, you could be breaking down a lot of the good components within your skin that are causing it to be strong. You're weakening your skin. You're making your skin much more vulnerable. There was something very interesting I remember reading a few years ago. And this is why we got into using liquid crystals. Liquid crystal technology is an olive-based technology, and the liquid crystal technology would bring, so think about the concept of a liquid crystal, is that it is a liquid that's an oil at the same time. So you have this water-oil balance. And the reason why we wanted to introduce liquid crystal technology into our skin care, a lot of it, was because of the fact that people were over-cleansing, stripping their skin. And the more water or serums that are water-based, or even moisturizers that are more oil in water moisturizers with a high water component, the more it was breaking down the skin barrier. And the liquid crystal was adding more of that fat that was actually helping to reduce sensitivity in the skin. But a lot of people then reacted to the liquid crystals. So we have been able to identify that a lot of our habits and a lot of our formulations in the world of skincare or in general will actually increase sensitivity. So knowing this, finding ingredients that help rebuild that acid mantle, help rebuild the fat part, helping to reduce transepidermal water loss, helping to increase that skin barrier, and helping to reduce inflammation are all very important to mitigate and take care of the sensitivity. I guess as a cosmetic chemist, I've seen a lot of skin trends come and go. But the idea of having your skin be in a happy zone with reduced, no inflammation, normalizing, being uneventful. Uneventful is the ideal. So you want strong, healthy skin that is not reacting, overreacting. Sensitivity is one of those things that regardless of age or stage, you could be inflicting onto your skin. So it's very important to be mindful of how you're using your skincare, what you are doing. And if you start to see a sensitivity or an issue with your skin, to back off and to get that addressed before it becomes more chronic and a problem, because it does lead to discomfort. And many times as you get older, it gets harder and harder to fix it. We want our skin to be happy. We want our skin to look healthy. I find that my skin looks better now than it did when I was young, and I like that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Confessions of a Cosmetic Chemist. I know I've enjoyed talking about the voyage, because I think I keep forgetting that because my skin feels so good now, I keep forgetting the state that it was in growing up and how everything caused my skin to react in a very bad way. I remember being mortified to go out because I would have literally patches of, it looked like it was burnt skin, scaled skin. Sometimes it was purpley blue. Sometimes it was very, very red. Sometimes it was bleeding. Because why? Because my skin was just so sensitive and so overreactive because of this autoimmune issue that I had. So I appreciate the struggle. But I can tell you that it's true. When you balance that acid mantle and when you work within that element of keeping that microbiome intact and keeping the skin nourished and protected, you've got a better future with your skin, and you can have really great skin at the end of this journey. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to your questions and comments and your feedback. Please let me know what you're thinking, what topics you want us to talk about, and thanks for tuning in. It means a lot.